And here is another very important document. There's a reason I support the people burning down the 5G towers. I'm going to show you right here. Let me scroll up to the top real fast. As you can see, this is declassified and approved for release in 2010. It says government use only, but once declassified and approved for release, it's public record. So here we go again. This is another very important piece of truth, without any of the bullshit involved. Biological effect of millimeter radio waves. Right here. Morphological, functional, and biochemical studies conducted in humans and animals revealed that millimeter waves cause changes to the body manifested in structural alterations in the skin and internal organs. Qualitative and quantitative changes of the blood and bone marrow composition and changes of the conditioned reflex activity. Tissue respiration, which is your oxygen level, the same thing the doctor was warning about in New York City. Activity of enzymes participating in the processes of tissue respiration and nucleic metabolism. The degrees of unfavorable effect of millimeter waves depend on the duration of the radiation and individual characteristics of the organism. You're going to see that listed in this. It's a very short document. It's kind of like a brief, but whenever they say the organism, they mean us. The ubiquitous propagation of radio waves, radio broadcasting, and television is contributing to the appearance of a new physical factor, electromagnetic waves of the radio frequency range. In recent years, it has been established that radio waves of different ranges have unfavorable influence on the organism. And then it lists a few more studies you can look up. This document is also, they knew this in 1977. The technology was built for a very specific reason. Where was I? Let me get back. Testify that long stays in conditions of the effect of radio waves leads to change of the functions of the nervous, cardiovascular, and other systems of the organism, with the development of a characteristic complex of symptoms, which permit speaking of a special nosological form of disease, radio wave disease. However, in the literature, there is little to no information about the biological effects of radio frequencies of the millimeter range, although that range is widely used in technology, and the question of its biological activity has acquired special urgency. The goal of the present investigations consisted in the study of the physiological and biochemical processes lying at the basis of the changes which occur in animals as a result of the effect of radio waves in the range of 5 to 8 millimeters. At a density of the flow of power of 1 milliwatt centimeter times 2, the investigations were conducted on rate of a Wistar line of mice of a CBA line, irradiated for 15 minutes daily in the course of 60 days, in the volume resonator of an experimental installation working on the basis of type OV12 generator. Now this is only, let me go back real quick, that's only 60 days exposure, okay? Your Wi-Fi and the towers that are all around us, dude, they shoot out millions of waves a second, 24/7, 365 days a year. That's why nobody can remember nothing. That's why everybody's stupid sheep. And right here, unfortunately, that it's in black and white, so it's very hard to see the cells. But they've already studied it. It was studied 50 years ago. It was built and designed before, they already knew the information before any cell phone came out, before the towers went up. It's all being done for cash. And as you can see, declassified, approved for release. You cannot get in trouble for sharing this or viewing it. Study of the morphological, functional, and biochemical indicators which play an essential role in the formation of reactions of the organism. Disclose various disorders in the experimental animals. And you will see as we get further down, they even experimented on 97 people. As is known, the energy of millimeter waves, because of its weak penetrating ability, is absorbed primarily and mainly by the skin. Our investigations have shown that in the skin of irradiated animals, deformation of the receptor apparatus and well-expressed change of the reactive character were observed. In the skin layer, properly speaking, appeared bunches of nerve fibers. Morgellons disease, remember that, guys, when Morgellons disease started showing up, those weird fibers in the skin? Here it is, right here. In the skin layer, properly speaking, appeared bunches of nerve fibers with hypertrophy of a portion of the fiber and sections with depolarization in the dermis. Among the collagen fibers were small trunks of various thickness, the neural conductors of which were fragmented in separate cases, and phenomena of demineralization were observed in the surface layers. As the results of the biomorphical analysis showed, in the functionally active structures of tissue of the mitochondrium, liver, kidneys, and spleen, disorders of the hemodynamics were established of your blood. With disruption of the, and wait a second, because that's what the doctor said too, because he said that the patients looked like they were dropped off on the top of Mount Everest at 30,000 feet. And here it is right here. It's right here. It affects the blood oxygen. It affects how your tissues absorb oxygen, everything. All around you, all the time. Moreover, qualitative and quantitative shifts were revealed in the erythrotic and leukocytic composition of the blood of irradiated animals, indicating expression of the hemoplastic function of the bone marrow and lymphatic system. You can see the L there, it got deleted a little bit. Noted in the composition of red blood was eosinophilia, neutrophilia, and lymphomas, and lowering of the hemoglobin level and reduction of the number of erythrocytes were observed, which was determined to have a considerable degree by their retention in the bone marrow. In the latter occurred an increase in number of enteroblastic cells and decreased the cells of the leukoblastic series. I don't know what that is. I'm going to have to look that up. And I'm going to skip down now. I'm going to skip through here. I have to stop talking because if I scroll, it will, the sound will get all chewed up. So I'm going to try to find real quick and read where they studied it on the humans. And then I'm going to leave this here for you guys to read. Here's more pictures of the cells and how the radiation affects them. The conducted investigation showed that the animals subjected to the effect of millimeter radio waves, there was a variation of content and ratio of catecholamines in the blood, and the concentration increased. Right here too. In the cerebral cortex, there was a slight redistribution, so it even affects your brain. Your adrenal glands, right here, and adrenaline content doubled. And the non-adrenal level dropped by 11% in comparison with that of unirradiated animals. And this is only talking about 60 hours of exposure. You're looking at 60 hours of exposure in 3 days. The main mass of the energy in tissues and organs of animals or animal organisms, as is known, is related during the biological oxidation of organic substances, in which case the greater part of it is accumulated in the form of macrourge, the process of bioenergetics, occurring mainly in the mitochondria, with direct participation of respiratory enzymes, which accomplish the terminal stage of biological oxidation. Right here, terminal stage of biological oxidation. They're killing our people. The conducted investigation showed that the irradiation of animals by millimeter waves caused changes of the processes of oxidative phosphorylation in the liver, kidneys, heart, and brain of the animals. The irradiation inhibited the oxygen consumption rate by the mitochondria of those organs in the active state and slowed down the rate of respiration upon exhaustion of the ATP. In the liver and kidneys of irradiated animals, the intensity decreased by 64%. The values of respiratory controls decreased by 26 and 28% respectively, and the changes were less expressed in the heart and brain, which is why the lungs are being most affected. Now I'm going to skip down right here. I'm going to leave some of this for you guys to read. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I'm going to skip down to where they experimented on the human beings. But it's going to take me a second to skim through it super fast and find it. Hang on. Oh wait, this one's important too. Investigation of the influence of millimeter waves on the state of nucleic exchanges showed that in the liver, spleen, kidneys, lungs, and heart, there was a reduction of content of nucleic acids and suppression of the rate. In a comparison of the results of quantitative determination of nucleic acids, it was established that the rate of inclusion of the predecessor in RNA and its content to the organs changes less than the DNA, but it still affects both your RNA and your DNA. Together with the reduction of the nucleic acid content, the quantity of acid-soluble products in the liver and spleen of irradiated animals increased by 35 and 43%, and the activity of ribonuclease and DNAs increased 50%. Now I'm going to find where it was. Oh, right here. It's right here. The conducted experimental investigations were compared with observations of the state of health of 97 persons working with generators of the millimeter range on the basis of systemic conducting of biochemical analysis. The obtained data confirmed the existence of an influence of radio waves on the state of metabolic processes in the organism. That's you, that's me. In particular, changes of the indicators of protein and carbohydrate metabolism were revealed, and disturbances of the indicator of immunobiological activity and of the blood system were established. So not only does it affect your ability for your body to take up oxygen, it also affects your immune system, it affects your blood, everything. Proven. Thus, the conducted investigations indicate high biological activity and unfavorable influence of the millimeter radio waves on the organism. The expressions of the biological reactions increased with the increase of period of irradiation and depended on individual characteristics of the organism. And here's more photos of it right here. I mean, it pretty much just looks like static. You'd have to search even harder to find the real ones. But this was 1977, before the first cell phone was ever in anybody's hand. And that's actually it. I actually did go through the whole thing, but I'll leave this for you to read. I'll put the document up for you to download so you can have it yourself.